Home, sweet home, beautiful, beautiful Texas. Just want to make sure I look good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RickCast. I am the aforementioned Rick, and in a sea of vapid and an annoying podcast, you're just watching another one. Thank you for joining me. My date guy's not here. Mark, my guy who tells me what the date is, he's not here right now. So I'm going to guess. I think it's the 10th of February, 2025, in the year of our Lord. I am your host, the short emperor himself. There are short kings, and then there are short emperors. Well, there's only one, and it's me. And I am happy to be here, the blue collar Catholic, the short emperor. And I am ready to talk to you guys about what happened this weekend while I was in North Carolina. I just got back to, I got back at 3 o'clock this afternoon, Central Time. So I've been home for about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Brought the car back, got my dog, hung out for a little bit, and now I'm here with you wonderful people. I did. I drove to North Carolina and back, and it was actually wasn't a bad drive. I quite enjoyed it. It was nice for the most part. Yeah, I would do it again. I would absolutely do it again because I thought it was a good time. And it was a great time. Big thank you to the Catholic Men's Conference of the Carolinas for allowing me to be the MC there. It was a wonderful event with Enoch and the boys from Avoiding Babylon, John Frankman. It was just a great time. It's always a great time to have fellowship with fellow Catholics and enjoy all of the time together. I'm not much fun when I go to these things. If you ever meet me at one of these things, I don't stay out late. I never have. I stayed the apex or the climax or the prime time, whatever you want to call it, my heyday, if you will. When I stayed out late was when I played rugby in college, because it was mandatory. You had to stay out. You weren't going home early. Nowadays, if you get me to stay out past 10, you're doing pretty good, because I'm the kind of guy I'll call it a night at 10 o'clock while everybody else is going out. Not that I don't want to hang out with you guys. It's just I'm a curmudgeon and I kind of want to get to sleep, even though I don't sleep away from home when I'm on the road. I just don't do it. I slept on Saturday night because I was exhausted from the conference, but 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't matter. It could be a 5-star hotel, the nicest hotel on the planet. Very unlikely that I'm going to get any sleep in there. I just don't. I don't know. Are you like that? Let me know in the comment section down below if you can sleep away. Some people can. Their head hits the pillow and they're out. Just gone. Me, not so much. I'm a light sleeper to begin with. So it's kind of touch and go. So, but great time. I love doing those. And hopefully maybe I'll do another couple of them before the end of the year. If you'd like me to MC your event or be a part of your event, you can always send me an email, info@thearmedcatholic.com. And I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love to be a part of your event if you are interested. I got 4 stories for you tonight, and I got a couple hot takes before we get to it. We're going to talk about the federal judges that are the only defense that the left has right now to what Trump is doing is injunctions. That's it. That's the only thing they can do right now to do. Hey man, it's my honor to be helping y'all. And so it's I'm glad you guys, and thank you guys for it's you guys. If you guys weren't here, then I wouldn't do the show. So it is what it is. Yeah. It's an uber nice hotel. Even then, I have to be like physically exhausted in order to actually sleep. But so yeah, that was that. Federal judges, the only stopgap the left has right now, and it's the only thing that's effective. They put another ban on Trump trying to get rid of the federal workforce, trying to downsize the federal workforce. The only thing that stopped his agenda right now is that. And then you have Trump's approval rating is actually up. It's not the highest it's ever been. When he went into office a couple weeks ago, it was at its highest, but it's over 50%. Even amongst this onslaught of executive orders, which the left is, every day their head is just blowing up, flames. I got to get that clip. I got to get that clip from Clue when she's like, flames at the side of my face. That's pretty much the left every single day. Every single day when they wake up and Trump's like, I just signed 5 more executive orders. They're like, and smoke's coming out of the ears and they just don't know what to do. But despite all that, his approval rating is still high, and it's still relatively high among, and I have to say this now because I'm an old man, young people, Hispanics, blacks, all these people that were being told they were going to get rounded up and tossed in a train car if Trump won. They're like, nah, we're still good with it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through some well-received Super Bowl ads and some not well-received Super Bowl ads, because that's apparently the game was crap. I was on the road until, I left North Carolina at 2:00 yesterday afternoon. And thanks to the time change and my sweet ability to drive, I got into Tuscaloosa at about 8. And at that point, I got some dinner. I watched an episode of Daredevil, and then I went to bed. I didn't even care about the game. I haven't watched. I told you, I don't watch the NFL. I don't take it seriously. It's crap. It's garbage. I don't need sports ball in my life, although I do watch college football, which you can see, hence the Texas A&M helmet, gig 'em. But outside of that, I don't care about the NFL. I don't care about the Super Bowl. I don't care about any of it. So I didn't watch. And, a lot of reasons now people watch this for the spectacle of the game, the awful halftime show, which everybody else has talked about how terrible it is, which it looked and sounded like it was awful. From the reviews, I know Jason Whitlock pretty much just decimated it this morning when I was watching him on my drive home. And the Super Bowl halftime show has been crap for years. The downfall of the Super Bowl halftime show was the infamous Janet Jackson one with Justin Timberlake. Wasn't that 2001? I think it was in 2001. The infamous malfunction, the clothing malfunction, we'll call it. Ever since then, they had to reorganize it and do something different, and they had to, make sure it never happened again. So now we're subjected to terrible hip hop artists and whatever the case may be. I've never listened to a single Kendrick Lamar song. So when they're like, Kendrick Lamar is performing, I've heard him in pop culture, but I've never heard any of his songs. So I really didn't. Yes, the wardrobe malfunction. That was it. The wardrobe malfunction. Yes, that ruined Super Bowl halftime shows from here on out. So now we have these uber safe, whatever the case may be. It's just crap. But people watch the ads, right? That's the big thing. They watch the ads. So we'll go from some of the better ones to some of the not so well-received ones. And then finally, there's a high-stakes AI summit in Paris, in Gay Paris. And apparently there is, it's more AI stuff. And AI as one of the central talking points that's going on out there. It's interesting to track how it's working. Although I'm not really concerned about AI taking over the world, because it can't get my speech to text correctly. I can't even say it, so maybe that's a problem. So once it actually starts getting my speech to text correct, then I'll be worried about the robots taking over. Until then, probably not so much. But that is our show today. And whatever you guys have on the docket as well, please do me a huge favor. If you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube, hit that like button. If this is your first time hanging out with me on the YouTube or on the Rumble, hit that subscribe button as well, so you know when the show goes live. If you're watching on the X machine, hit that follow button to follow the RickCast account and retweet it for a larger sample size on your timeline, so we can get more people in here to hang out with us and kind of talk about the events of the day. And you can become a bar rat yourself. That's right, my little bar rats. We're ready to tackle this news cycle. So let's get to it. Our first story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is actually our second story. This is our first story of the day, coming to us from Elon Musk. I haven't practiced my Elon impression, so I'm not going to do it. But apparently the Doge team, and this was this morning, just discovered, while I was driving, honestly, that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal criminal alien trespassers. This is important because halfway through, going into the fall of last year, Karine Jean Lesbian Pierre was telling people that FEMA had run out of money, after the hurricanes destroyed Western North Carolina. She was like, sorry, guys, I ain't got no money for you, while they were cutting checks to these hotels across this union to pay for criminal alien trespassers. And that didn't even, they were still doing it up to last week, which is why when people say, oh, Elon Musk and his team of 19-year-olds shouldn't be going into the federal government, that's sensitive classified information. If we didn't have this, how would we know any of this? USAID would still be doling out checks to various Catholic and Lutheran and other organizations to transport migrants across the globe. We'd still be funding, transgender comic books in the Alps and all these other things. So the fact of the matter is, it needs to be done. Oh, Steph, you're just mad that he's not your president, Elon. It's fine when George Soros gets all of his attorneys and he bankrolls the attorneys across the country. Well, Steph, do you approve of FEMA cutting checks for illegal immigrants for $59 million while people in Western North Carolina and California aren't being helped? It's really that simple. It's a question of where's the money going, right? The money is not being allocated. There's nothing in the emergency management charter that should go to illegal immigration. So it's what it is. So why would he let Donnie be the first to do a photo op and leave hat half? Why wouldn't you? I mean, the guy got cheers every time he went. Are you mad because he got cheered and Taylor Swift got booed? Are you a little hard feelings on Tay-Tay getting booed? I mean, I would. It is a little interesting. You had NFL players shaking Trump's hand, so it is a little bit on that as well. What, that Tay-Tay got booed? It is. There's video evidence. But we're off track. Let me reset this. Doge is catching the wasteful spending that is taking place. It's out there, folks. And whether it's, oh, you guys are just looking through usaspending.org or whatever, guys, this spending is not what we signed up for. This spending is not what we want, especially when you have homeless causes, when you have veterans that are committing self-deletions at 22 times a day, when you have all of these things that Americans are suffering through, yet we're having our money, our taxpayer dollars being ripped from us to be given to people who haven't earned it. It's not their money, and we shouldn't house them. So that's it. So Elon writes, sending this money is violating the law and gross insubordination to the Trump's executive orders. That money is meant for American disaster relief, and instead of being spent on high-end hotels, a clawback demand will be made today to recoup those funds. I mean, I think we also feel, I think we also are just kind of shocked at all of these things that are taking place. All of these things that are being done. And people are pointing out, well, yeah, if you go to usaspending.org, you'll find these things. And I think once he gets that clawback that he's demanded, we'll see the proof that that these funds were being generated or being cut to things and being spent on things they're not supposed to be spent on. So good for Elon Musk and Doge. Not a huge Elon Musk fan, not at all. I think he's a futurist. I think he's a technocrat and he wants to put chips in everybody's heads. And the thing that's really going to scare you about Elon is he's got the largest database of information, AI used information between Tesla and X. He's got so much data on all of us, especially Grok for a language learning model. That thing is just absorbing a fire hose of information. So yes, Elon Musk is getting some goodwill here with supposedly for everybody except some libs. But let's also understand that Elon is not being completely altruistic. I'm happy that he's cutting some money and he's trying to save some money off the budget. But outside of that, I'm not a huge Elon Musk fan. Speaking of Elon Musk, we're going to move to our next hot take. This was yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening. Elon Musk announces that the Department of Education no longer exists. Now, there's a little bit of back and forth on whether this is true because, yes, it is an executive order, but there's also an act in Congress that actually created the Department of Education. So how much they can slash to it is a little muddy right now. I know Elon's bragging that the website doesn't exist, but I mean, just because a website doesn't exist doesn't mean that it's actually true. You have to be careful as far as that hype machine goes in that regard. But it sounds like they're trying to show that these that these departments that have not been in the best interest of this union. You can look at No Child Left Behind. I taught in schools where No Child Left Behind was enforced. Reading, math, social studies, science, despite the STEM programs, they're not doing well. We're falling behind in all of those areas. And so, right, G Money. I don't think Congress is going to get in the way of the Department of Education being shut down. And I know, here's one thing: if the Department of Ed shuts down, do I have to pay my student loans back? Because that's cool if we don't have to anymore. Oh man. So it's it is very interesting in that regard that we're seeing these things be cut, that we're seeing these things be eliminated, right? The big one was USAID. Now it's the Department of Education. Could we really just can we stop beating around the bush and just get rid of the IRS? Can we stop like, oh, yay, the Department of Education. Can we just cut the IRS and the ATF? Can we just do that? I mean, yes, these are all great. Yay. But everybody's just sitting around waiting for him to be like, yes, the Department of the Internal Revenue Service, we got rid of it. And just like, yeah, that's the one we all want. But the billions of dollars that have been printed and spent around the world, it's not really great. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking out loud. I don't think they'd be like, oh well, you don't have to pay your student loan back. I'd still have to pay it back. Easy, folks. Before you get the pitchforks out, I get it. It's a joke. Not a very funny one, but still a joke nevertheless. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So those are my two hot takes. Those are two things that are going on as in our Doge watch, what's happening with the slicing of government, trying to pare it down. And that kind of leads us nicely into our first story of the day from Forbes. Oh, nope, that's wrong. That was me trying to see what I was doing. From FoxNews.com's Louis Casino. That guy. Judge extends restraining order to ban Trump administration buyout offer to federal workers. So, as I was saying before, the judges are the only things that are quick enough to react to this birdshot effect, which President Trump has put into play since he's been in office, which is, and I hate the cliche, it's already been beaten to death, flooding the zone with so many things between the confirmations and the executive orders and Doge and all this other stuff. Liberals honestly don't know what to attack first or whatever. So by the time they draft these lawsuits or these injunctions, they've moved on to 10 other things. Another interesting thing to watch out for is, yes, these judges have put restraining orders on this specific buyout. Doesn't mean you can't throw out that one and just write a new one. But it really is interesting to see that this extension of the bureaucratic state, I don't want to use deep state because every single MAGA account and QAnon and Alex Jones, the deep state this, deep state that, every time that like a government employee walks down the street, look at the deep state in action. Let's just call it the bureaucratic state, because that's really what it is. It's a bureaucracy of many unelected people that are deciding our everyday fate. And so this bureaucracy is bloated because it's never been checked. If a business operated like this in the private sector for 50 years, it wouldn't exist. Being bloated and over bloated and then just trying to overextend its credit line and all these other things that the federal government has been known to do. once all these things take place, after enough time, the business just crumbles underneath. So that's not a good thing. But the judges are part of that bureaucratic state. I'm not going to call it a deep state. I'm going to call it a bureaucratic state. And that's what they're doing. They're protecting the interest of the bureaucratic state. If these people are offered a buyout and they say, and they sign it and they accept it, there really is no position that the judge has to prevent this this interaction between employer and employee. Because if these people work for the executive department and the head of the executive branch offers them this settlement, and they accept it of their own free will, I don't know what the grounds are for the judge to say, well, you guys can't do that, or it's not right, or it's not fair, or it's not legal, or whatever the case may be. Really, the bureaucratic state is stepping up, because if these 60, 70,000, however many people have accepted it, that will decimate the federal unions, which shouldn't exist in the first place, because these federal unions are just monetary slush funds that get pushed back into the Democratic Party. And that's not me making stuff up. That's just following the money. Unions donate to Democrats. Washington, D.C. leans overwhelmingly, I don't have the specific numbers in my head, but they lean overwhelmingly to voting for Democrats. That's just that simple. That's their payday. So that's what we're looking at here. So real quick, federal judge on Monday extended a temporary restraining order to block the Trump administration fork in the road offer to the federal employees. Judge George O'Toole, need I say more, has said he has taken the matter under advisement, but there was no timeline on when he could make a decision, which is what he wants to do. He wants to push out the clock. He wants to make this as difficult as possible to get through. And unfortunately, being within the judiciary, he doesn't have a time limit that he has to follow. Quote, we are pleased today the court continued his injunction from last week, continuing to enjoin OPM and defendants from implementing the fork in the road directive, the so-called bailout, said Eileen Goldstein, the lead attorney for the group unions, suing the administration on behalf of the labor unions. That's who's suing. The people who are like, hey, I want to take the 8 months of salary and benefits. And here's the sick part. They want to take those salary and benefits and they want to go start something new. They have a blank check, essentially, not a blank check, but they have a loan to go start something new. And the unions don't want to do that because they're going to lose their money. The other sick thing that the Democrats are doing, they're saying, if you take this bailout money, we're going to shut down the government and you're not going to get paid. Because that's what they're saying when they say, oh, these workers aren't going to get paid. That's why we're going to shut this down. No, what they're going to do is they're going to shut down the government, and that will shut down the paychecks to them. The Democrats are willing to do that, especially if they leave the bureaucratic state, because they are going against the machine. In this Boston courtroom, we hope that this decision today will provide civil service workers with assurance that the American people have their back. I don't have your back. I don't. I want you to take the money and leave. I want 1 million federal employees to take the money and leave. I want the bureaucratic state as small as possible, because every time I think of the bureaucratic state, I think of the sloth from Zootopia. Sorry, the federal bureaucracy is not a swath of highly skilled bureaucratic agents running around trying to fix our everyday problems. No, it's people that show up at 9 and don't get to work until 10. Then they take a lunch at noon, and then they work from 1 to 3, and then they take another break at 3, and then they leave at 4. I mean, I don't think Trump would care about the shutdown. See, the problem is once the shutdown takes place, the Democrats will then blame Trump for not paying the federal employees. So that's how they're going to try and get around that as well. The hearing comes after 2 weeks after the U.S. Office of Personnel Management emailed more than 2 million federal civilian employees, offering them buyouts to leave their job, which is something that companies do all the time. Hey, man, listen, I have members of my family that have taken it. I have members of my family that were like, hey, I was in a job that I really didn't like, and I had a chance to get a severance package, and I took it for a couple months. I already had a couple offers as soon as I stepped out the door, but I took a couple months off, and I already have another job. It happens a lot more than you think. So, but of course, what's the playbook? The playbook is to scare people. You're not going to get paid. Trump's going to, they're going to leave you out in the street. It's going to be terrible if you take this bailout. Blah. And that's just how they do these things. And of course, Judge Timmy O'Toole over here is going to push this thing out as long as possible and try and run out the clock in order to make it more difficult for Trump to actually get these buyouts to occur, to try and slim down the government, because they don't want to slim down government. They want a big, fat, honking government because it's better for the Democratic Party and the bureaucratic state overall. All right, you're watching RickCast. I am the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell if you are watching and you are enjoying this show. Please do me a favor because that helps. If you are on the X machine right now, retweet it to get a bigger sample size and we can get these people in here. Come on, hang out with us in the chat rooms on Rumble and on X as well as on YouTube. We have all our favorites here tonight. Great to see you all. Always happy to see you guys. Always happy to see our people on X as well. Now that I'm back in my beautiful Republic of Texas, all is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our second story of the day. One that is kind of shocking many people. From CBS News, a poll, and the CBS News polls are historically anti-Trump. I know it sounds like, oh, they're all anti-Trump. They're all this, that. Listen, man, the CBS News ones are not, most of them aren't, but CBS in particular is not very kind to Trump. But this CBS poll, Trump has positive approval amid energetic, I like how they put that, opening weeks, seen as doing what he promised. There's your overall news. Go back. Don't you do that to me, Ricky Bobby. So Trump's official overall job rating, this was February 5th through the 7th, right before this weekend. 53% approve, 47% disapprove. Back, I think the highest he got during his first term was maybe 44%. So this is ridiculous. With most describing him as tough, energetic, focused, and effective, and doing what he promised he would do. President Trump has started his term with net positive marks from Americans overall. Many say he's doing more than they expected, and those who say this most like what they see. Very few think he's doing less. Okay, you can go away. His partisan and his voters in particular say he got the right amount of focus on matters like ending diversity, equity, inclusion programs, and deporting those who are in the country illegally. Right. His approval rating is over 50% after ending DEI, after signing the executive order that said only women can compete in women's sports, after the pictures that the left-leaning media tried to trot out. Look at this child. This child's being separated from their mom, and it's terrible. What are we doing? And then the person will be flooded with responses like, hey, if a dad commits a crime, guess what? He's going to get separated from his kids. Why don't we get tons of pictures of that every single week? We don't, because you're trying to push us in a certain way. His deportation policy finds major approval overall, just as most voters said they wanted during the campaign. I think a couple of polls had it at 70%. 70% of people wanted Trump to just deport. We're not talking about criminals, just deport. Deportations. We need to get rid of them. We need to focus on Americans. And I know some people do not like to hear that, but that is the case. That's what's going on. But one key issue looms. Most Americans say the administration isn't focused enough on lowering prices. Of course, I'm sure that question was rigged in such a way as to be the one that they could get after Trump on. Because, of course, why haven't prices gone down? Because the economy is like an aircraft carrier. It's not a speedboat. Especially when you have things like the Biden regime killing how many numbers of chickens? Hundreds of thousands of chickens. So that's the prices of eggs going up. The economy based on fuel, those prices are going up. It's going to take time to see those prices reverse. But of course, they're like, why aren't the price of eggs going down yet? Trump bad, right? And it's like, okay. So let's see. So this is a YouGov poll too. Very interesting. Describe Donald Trump as tough, energetic, focused, and effective, all over 55%. During the 2020 campaign, voters picked many of these labels in describing Mr. Trump. Oh, see how CBS did that? It's President Trump, but they're so so childish. Mr. Trump. It's President Trump to you. And today, the percentage for them find similar or higher levels. And a large majority say he's doing what he said he would, and whether they approve of it or not, which they're shocked because politicians don't do that. They just don't, because they're too busy. That's one thing. Trump is not, he's a lame duck, but he's not a back-to-back president. So he's coming in doing his thing. Overall job rating, 53% approve, 47% don't. Trump's administration's program to deport criminal alien trespassers illegally approved. 59% of people, according to this poll, almost 60% of the people polled agree that these people who are in this country illegally, they need to go because they are breaking the law. No matter how many abuelas and lawyers and doctors and farmhands. It was funny. At the conference, we made the joke about the farmhands, and I was sitting across from a guy who was a farmer. And he's like, I hope they deport them all so I can actually get back to work. I can actually get back to work and get more shares in, because these guys who hire illegals, they cut everybody else out. Like the 400-pound one who's like, oh, my illegals are gone. Well, guess what, buddy? You get to walk now. Comparably, more Americans are in favor of sending U.S. troops to the border. And while they are split on the idea of creating large detention centers where people will be kept, Mr. Trump, President Trump's 2024 voters are strongly in favor of that. 64% are approving troops to the border. That's the closest one. Of course, the way it's phrased, large detention centers, because anytime you say something like that, that gets people, that's an icky phrase. So that if he got approval on that one, that would have been crazy. Trump's handling of the Israel-Hamas conflict, 54 approve, 46% don't approve. U.S. trying to take over Gaza. Well, this was just a stupid idea. So I'm actually glad 47% of people think it is. Trump's focus on lowering prices is not enough, right amount, too much. Of course, they're like, why isn't he trying to lower prices right now? Trump's tariffs on goods from China, 56% are in favor of it. On Mexico, 44%, Europe, 40%, and Canada is 38% because they don't understand how tariffs work. And then finally, Elon Musk and Doge influence over government operations and spending should be a lot, some, not much, or none. But the thing though, here's what they'll try to do with a graph or a poll like this. They'll see, the majority of people think that they should have none, when in reality, it's actually the opposite. 51% of people, if my math is right, 51% of people, because 23 and 28 is 51. Last time I checked. Man, I was a social studies teacher for a reason. Either way, you have a majority of people who think that Elon Musk and Doge should have influence over government operations. But they're going to say, well, 31% say that's the majority. It's 31%. No, it's not. It's actually over 50%. Think Elon Musk and Doge should be there. Elon Musk and Doge, influencers over government operations. And why are we doing? Democrats and Republicans. Whatever. That's just cherry picking. But that's the poll right there. It doesn't shock me. Because people are looking for somebody to do something, right? They are literally trying to get the Spaceballs agenda of just do something. Do something, please. Somebody do something to help us. Somebody do something to help us. And Trump, with his executive orders, is at least giving the appearance of trying to help people, trying to cash in on what he said, which is also a positive, because the left's like, he never does it. He's not going to do it. He's just going to do it. Well, he is now. And now they're complaining about it. But it doesn't shock me because people, and this was another focus of conversation at the conference, was people respond to leadership. I know people are not going to like that phrase, but people respond to it. They respond to leadership. And even if you don't agree with it, you want your general, your commander, your person who's leading, your boss, when he says, we're going to do this, or she for the feminists, when person X says, we're going to do this, they do it. People respect if you follow through, even if it's wrong, because at least you're not full of talk. At least you're not puffing out your chest. If you say you're going to do something and then you actually go through with it, you're at least following through. You can be counted on to do that. And a lot of people are at least appreciative of that. Even if they don't completely agree, they're happy that it's going to be actually done. So not a shock that he's getting high approval marks. I know the left is absolutely losing their mind because they can't understand why people would actually approve of it. But it doesn't shock me in any single way. It shouldn't shock you at all either. So yeah, that's what we are looking at right there. Here on RickCast, I am the aforementioned Rick. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. We're almost at 100 viewers here on the channel. Yeah, we're almost at 100. I appreciate you guys being here. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Let me know what you're doing. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. That like button's huge. If you hit it, that'll help the algorithm share it to more people. Rumble is the same thing. You guys are doing great on the comments as far as YouTube, so you're killing it there. So thank you on that. Just hit that like button. You guys on X, follow and retweet. Follow and retweet and tell everybody the Short Emperor is killing it over here on RickCast, because I am indeed the emperor of all the short kings. Third story of the day. So we're not going to talk about the Super Bowl because that's super cliche. Everybody talks about it. Oh, well, what happened to the Super Bowl last night? Whatever, man. It was a terrible game. Kendrick Lamar was a terrible halftime show. And I honestly, I think if you really wanted to have a solid halftime show and you really wanted to go with the hip hop vibe, you had a perfect opportunity with Lil Wayne. I know people are going to be weird, but Lil Wayne is from New Orleans and he's got a larger catalog. And he's got enough cross appeal that people would have felt it better. But the whole halftime show is set up to be a divisive thing anyway, and a grooming exercise in trying to convince kids of the evils of capitalism. From what I'm hearing, most people just shut it off or just put it on mute during the halftime show. So I know you could watch it for free. You could watch it on Tubi for free. And I didn't watch it. Like I said, I was on the road all day yesterday and I didn't even bother. I didn't care. Because I wouldn't have watched it anyway. I just bought all 3 seasons of Daredevil. To me, that's a little bit more engaging than the Netflix ones. It was on sale for like $3. No, I bought all 3 seasons for $21. So I love that show. So I'd rather watch that than the Super Bowl. I don't watch sports ball. You know, I watch college football. That's it. That's really it. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch college basketball. I don't watch any of it. I just don't care. It doesn't affect me. No, it doesn't really. I don't really want to do it. But the thing that everybody really gets around, the national conversation is never about the game. It's always about the ads. It's like the secondary sport here. The most and least popular Super Bowl ads with celebrities. With an unusually large number of celebrity ads. That's because the economy's bad. And okay, thanks, bud. You don't care what we watch, or what you watch. Cool. With an unusually large number of celebrity ads, some soared and others struggled, while AI-driven ads underperformed because the AI is still learning the actual way that things are done. So the scores are in for other big Super Bowl clash, which ads performed the best. The results reveal some interesting trends. The number of Super Bowl ads with celebrities has been increasing over the years because these people are desperate for money. And that's the easiest way for them to get it, is to actually go cash these checks. It's a couple days worth of work, and then that's it. Let's see. Increase over the years. 57 out of the 94 product ads that aired during the big game featured celebrity names. Many had more than one. That's up 22% from last year. Sources tell Hollywood Reporter A-list secured fees in the $3 to $5 million. So they're paying $3 to $5 million to the celebrity. And then they're paying an unknown number of money to actually have the spot at a certain time. And it's pretty intense to see the amount of money these people drop on ads. Because, you know, if you can do it, and we'll see this in a moment, you can actually drive the proper amount of traffic to your website. Despite advertising, writing, despite advertising, writing big checks, the ads with celebrities only engage viewers somewhat more than average. According to TV Marketing Research EDO survey, 60% of the top 50 ads featuring a celebrity, Glenn Powell playing Goldilocks in an ad for Ram Trucks, which came in at number 2. Another all-star focused car ad, Jeep's Freedom Spot with Harrison Ford, likewise made the top 10, coming in at number 8. So you can take a look here. These are the actual ads that were ranked. So, and it's interesting. I actually like this website, the EDO, because not only does it give you the amount of engagement that was done there, because the way this is, it's based on TV-driven engagement from the advertised brand or product. So the EI score for each ad is relative. It means how much did these people Google Ram or Jeep or toilet paper or whatever it is after that time. And that's why it's important. It tells you 7:02 p.m., first quarter, 00, 60-second ad. And so it'll tell you pretty much.
There are over 500,000 square miles.
This is supposedly the top ad.
By any cell phone tower. Places where emergency texts never sent, where emotional messages are not received, and countless memories are left unshared.
Going good. You're doing good.
But T-Mobile is about to change that. T-Mobile partnered with Starlink to launch hundreds of satellites, creating the only space-based network that automatically connects to the phone you already have. And because connection means everything, we're inviting anyone on any wireless carrier to experience it for free.
You won't believe where I am right now.
I don't care. So that's the number one. Look at that rating index, that engagement index, 1,263. That's the impact of the ad. So that's pretty amazing for that. There's nothing splashy about that ad either. Nothing at all. It's just, hey, we use Starlink now, so you'll always get a signal. And everybody's like, that's super great. I guess that would make that would result in the largest amount of engagement because people are going to look into it. They're going to go to the website. And once again, they probably pay a premium because that's at the beginning of the game when most people are watching. This one we're not going to play them all. I'm going to play a couple of the top 3 and then a couple of the bottom 3. This was in the second quarter where Philadelphia was still a relatively close game. This is the Glenn Powell Goldilocks.
Once upon a time, there was a girl with golden locks. You know what? Maybe it was like a rugged, woodsy dude.
I mean, I like Glenn Powell, so I would approve of this ad.
This Goldilocks wanted something tastier.
Those look just right.
Good for you, Glenn Powell. You can get that check.
2,500 Rebel to pick up some dinner.
Okay, that's funny. That's so dumb.
Next, he took the Ram Charger deep into the woods to flex his artistic muscles. Then he fired up the Ram RHO for a little joyride.
What about the 3 bears?
This is my story. But yeah, the bears were there.
All right, it's cutesy. It's got the family angle. I mean, I can see why that one got some engagement. So, and then I don't know. There's the How You Train Your Dragon live action adaptation because apparently people are hims and hers. So the men's health system getting a big debut. I guess that says more about men's health in these United States than anything else. That it was the number 5 most Googled. Guys are like, hey, honey, I got to go check something out. Interestingly enough, that was in the third quarter where Philadelphia was in control of the game. And yet I'm not playing it. It still had the number 5 engagement of the night. Let's look at the number 6. I can't stand that. I feel like I'm not even playing. I feel like these are such subversive stuff. These the he gets us ones because it's such like a an absolute scattershot version, such a secularized version of Christianity, that it's I'm not even playing the whole thing. Yeah, oh look, he gets us too. No, he doesn't. If you read the Bible. Moving on. So that's like your top 6, 7. You got all of those. Another Jurassic World actually did well, even though I cut it to pieces. You got your Bud Light ones and all this other kind of stuff. You got the Dunkin' commercials, which I always find are funny, but that's because I'm from the Northeast. If you watched the game last night, did you have a favorite commercial? If you did, I'll play it if you want. Send me a message and we can show everybody it was your favorite one. But I didn't watch any of these, so I didn't know. Bud Light, this one apparently scored really well in the USA Today one, but it didn't really do well here. It was only number 26. Because USA Today, you would log in and just rate them. So that was the number 1, but it was number 26 down here. This one is interesting because this is Nike's first commercial at the Super Bowl ever. Well, what do you think the message would be in this ad?
You can't be demanding. You can't be relentless. You can't put yourself first. So put yourself first. You can't be confident. So be confident. You can't challenge. So challenge. You can't dominate. So dominate.
If you know the history of the song being used, roll that in there too, because all of this stuff is picked.
So fill that stadium. You can't be emotional. So be emotional. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win.
Most of them can't.
So win.
So let's look at this. This is the first Nike ad that they've ever done. Spent a lot of money on it. They threw it in the second quarter, which we saw with the Dodge ad. The Dodge ad was in the second order. And that, the Ram truck one, that did gangbusters. This Nike one, the Lay's potato chip and Budweiser horse, and even the men and women help, bedroom help ads did better than the Nike ad. The women led. They can't even win the advertising fight. So it's absolutely crazy in that regard. This one, I'm gonna play this one for 5 seconds because I like Tubi, but this is a bad. Look at this. This is gross. Like guy born with a cowboy hat as a head. Come on, Tubi, be better. That's gross, man. I didn't want to watch that. But yeah, that's bad. And then so Nike put a lot of money in, and they did a little bit better than this weird Kiss from a Lime. It's got Seal is an actual seal. It's weird. I actually saw that one. Let's see. What's the actual worst performing one during the game? Because the bottom ones are after the game or before the game, and that doesn't really count. There's a couple that got zeros, but that's post game when nobody's watching, or pre-game when nobody pre-game's like, oh, honey, check out Cascade.com. Let's see here. That's post game. Come on, there's one halftime. All right, this one's actually pretty hysterical. I don't know how much money Angelsoft, the toilet paper company, decided to put down on this one, and this is their big game debut, and this is the best their advertising team could come up with.
Angelsoft interrupts this broadcast to bring you a bathroom break. I know you need one, so come on, let's go. Why are you still here? This is your potty-tunity. It's simple. Do not watch this. So you there, get off the couch and go to the bathroom. Okay, back to the broadcast.
First of all, who's going to the bathroom in 30 seconds? Who's doing that? Right? Am I out of line on that one? By the way, who's Who's throwing that one out there? That's a little crazy on that regard, but not really good. Secondly, you're really going to put money up for that? That somebody in your advertising, who is in an advertising department of one person? Because that person's getting fired. That was a really bad call. By the way, fair use. Want to make sure that's up there for a couple seconds so that way YouTube does not destroy this video. We are fair using the ads that are available on a website to promote brands while I make fun of them. Fair use, fair use, fair use, legal, 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 blah, 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 business. All right, let's get back. All right, here we go. Business, business, business. So, right? So they spent all this money and they're like, let's tell people to go to the bathroom. Okay, yeah, not great. And then a lot of these other ones, this Disney one's terrible. I'm not even going to play it, but I guess you got to be something if you're going to be the last ranked. Well, actually, I guess 11 people went to the website, right? The 11 people are like, that's a really good idea. We should go to the AngelSoft website and check out what they have. But that's the list and rankings of the actual ads. You can check it out. I'll drop this link in the chat on StreamYard if you want to look at them yourself and see which ones went where. But it's kind of funny because these things planned a year out. Oh, look, Pfizer came in above the toilet paper ad. So did Haagen-Dazs, DoorDash, FanDuel. I mean, if you eat Haagen-Dazs or you get stuff from DoorDash, you're going to definitely use, AngelSoft. But that's neither here nor there. All right. So now that that's over, I can take my headphones off and get back to telling you that this is the RickCast. I am the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Help this show grow. And you can tell me that you don't care what I watch. And I hear you. I do. But if I'll only hear you if you like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. Or if you hit me up on the X machine, hit that follow button and retweet. And you guys on Rumble as well, hit that like and subscribe button. All righty, let's get to our last story of the day. I probably should have done these differently, but yeah, I guess we're that ship has sailed. Last story of the day. Woo! From abcnews.com. AI summit in Paris. World leaders, tech titans, and challenging diplomatic talks. Major world political leaders are meeting for an AI summit in Paris, where challenging diplomatic talks are expected while tech titans fight for dominance in fast-moving technology industries. Heads of state, top government officials, CEOs, and scientists from around 100 countries are participating in the two-day international summit starting Monday. No matter where you are, who is it? Brett Dasovich says, no matter where you are in the world, there's always a women's summit happening. And there's always some kind of summit. The summits are always stupid because they go there, they speak for a day, and then they all go out and get drunk. That's all these people do. They spend money and they get drunk at these summits, and they waste your money doing it. High-profile attendees include U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and his first overseas trip, and Chinese Vice President Zhang Zhouqin. We're living in a technology and scientific revolution we've rarely seen, French President Emmanuel Macron said Sunday on national television, France 2. It's actually interesting that J.D. Vance is there, considering his connections to Palantir. And what's the guy? What's the guy who did PayPal? What's the tech titan's name? Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is pretty much JD Vance's sponsor. If you don't know that, look into it. You'll be quite surprised. Nothing negative against JD Vance. I'm just telling you, there's a reason why he's there. France and Europe must, quote unquote, seize the opportunity because AI will, quote unquote, enable us to live better, learn better, work better, care better. And if it's up to us to put this artificial intelligence at the service of human beings. Really? You're not just going to use AI to put people in pods and make them eat bugs? Really? Okay. Let's think of that again. The summit will give some European leaders a chance to meet Vance for the first time. The 40-year-old vice president was just 18 months into his time, so I don't care about that. On Tuesday, Vance will have a working lunch with Macron, with discussions on Ukraine and the Middle East, and maybe even talk about his wife, thanks to Candace Owens. Vance, like President Donald Trump, has questioned U.S. spending on Ukraine. And are we talking about the conference anymore? No, this is all about Trump. Here we go. Like they dedicated 3 paragraphs to Trump because these people are so nuts about Trump they can't even write an article about something else. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Yeah, Peter Thiel. The summit, which gathers major players such as Google, who their AI is not very good, Microsoft, their AI is not very good, and OpenAI, which Elon Musk is trying to buy. It's actually funny that Musk is not there because he has the most amount of data for his AI bot. Maybe these people are gathering to counter Gronk, because if you're looking at it from a data collection standpoint, Gronk is far and away ahead of everybody else between Tesla and between X. And now, if you think about it, folks, think about this. Everybody's celebrating the T-Mobile Starlink stuff. That opens up Elon Musk to how much more data? If you use the Starlink phone on your T-Mobile device, I'm pretty sure Musk gets access to your data. Oh, I didn't even think about Starlink. So you have Starlink, you have Tesla, you have AI, you have Gronk. Musk has all the data. So these people are probably getting together. This is like Walmart and what was it? It was like Sears and Kmart when they merged to try and take on Walmart. But they want to aim at fostering AI advances in sectors like health, education, environment, and culture. This is such BS. It absolutely. And he has the Boring Company to power them all. He is I mean, if he wasn't with Donald Trump, we'd think he's a supervillain because he kind of is. Sorry. Don't nuke my account, Elon Musk, on X. Or do it. I don't care. You can just go to Rumble. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is global public-private partnership named Current AI is to be launched to support large-scale initiatives that serve the general interest. What is the general interest? What is the general interest, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see. Right, yeah. Elon's gonna put a chip in my brain, and then I'll just be talking the random talking points. Musk good. Now, see, if he puts a chip in my brain, I get a Tesla and I get Starlink. So you give up your soul, you get a Tesla and Starlink. The Paris Summit is, quote, the first time we'll have such a broad international discussion in one place about the future of AI, says this lady who I don't care about. Nick Rainier, senior geotechnical analyst at the Eurasia Group, noted an opportunity to shape AI governments in a new direction by, quote, moving away from this concentration of power amongst a handful of private actors. Yeah, so let's give it to a handful of private government. Let's give it to a handful of governments, because I'm sure that's going to be so much better than a handful of private individuals. So I love how we're going to get it out of the hands of the private sector and give it to the much less competent government sector. I'm sorry, public sector for you nerds. However, it remains unclear if the U.S. will support such initiatives. They won't, because Musk will probably tell Trump not to. And Peter Thiel will probably say not to as well. French organizers also hope the summit will lead to major investment announcements in Europe. No thanks. France is to announce AI private investment worth a total of 109 billion euros, 113 billion over the coming years. Macron said, presenting it as an equivalent of Trump's Stargate AI data center project. Oh, good. So Europe's going to have their own warp speed drug AI initiative. Good to hear. India's prime minister, can't say it, is co-hosting the summit with Macron in an effort to involve more global actors in AI development. Hey, how about they actually work about, this is not a racist statement, but before India starts working on AI technology, maybe they should be able to develop a public toilet system for the entire country. And if you know about the sanitation problems in India via the caste system, you'll know that that's actually not a racist statement. Anyway, I don't care about India. Macron will also travel Wednesday with Modi to the southern city Port and Marseille to inaugurate a new Indian consulate and to visit the ITER nuclear research site. France has become a key defense partner for India. I don't care. That's not about the AI thing. So there you go, folks. You have AI leaders, or people coming together for the future of AI so they can enslave us all on multiple fronts. But hey, at least stuff is quick now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Thank you so much. Yes, MD D2299. I don't trust Musk, but I like what he's doing at Doge. I do too. Man. Me too. 100%. I think right now what he's doing is fine at Doge, but he's also a supervillain. I think, yeah, and I think the Doge thing is almost kind of like a goodwill project, but I agree with you 100%. All right, folks, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Yeah, I read the comments over there on Rumble. You guys got to do it. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so we can continue to get this show to grow. We got 128 people on X, 5 or 6 people on Rumble, which is like the equivalent to 20 on YouTube, and a good number on the tube as well. Please subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube or on Rumble, please hit that like button. Hit that like button, smash it, kick it, throw it off the balcony, RKO it. I don't care. Just make sure you get it. And subscribe to this channel so you will be with me live all 5 days, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. I will talk to you all tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.